You know what? Read verse 10, and then I want you to read verse 12. 10 and then 12.
Okay. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed, they are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
But these as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption.
There it is. That's that word. That's that key word. Corruption.
Whoa.
And that's what we've been seeing so far with the church and the government. And when we say church and government, there's two kinds of churches. There's two kinds of government. We got a true church and we have a false church. We have a true government and we have a false government. And when the two false ones are working together, the church and the government, they form what we call what? Corruption. So that's what we're going to be looking into today. So we're going to start with the church. And we're going to show you a short video clip of the one that we're going to talk about today. And his name is Peter Popoff. So let's see this clip and follow with us today with the corruption. Peter Popoff was a well-known evangelist and still around today. So,
yes, look at all that. It's ridiculous. What an absolute reprehensible human. This Peter Popoff, is he still around? I've done previous videos on this. Anyway, I got a couple of new ones, but all this stack comes from previously. Open the door. I've just been collecting this shit. Anyway, two more just came in today, so I thought I'd have a look. Open the doors of the great bank of heaven. Open the door to incredible physical health, energy, and well-being. Experience a flood of wild riches that will cover you with life-changing abundance. Unstoppable miracle power. And it cost him like $2.
yes.
Every time he sends one of these.
Wow.
Yeah, very clear prophetic visions about your present situation and your future. Right now, your guardian angel is battling with Satan. My
See?
prosperity. You are next. I'm next. Next to be bloody ripped off by this scam artist. Unbelievable. Anyway, it's personal and confidential. Once and read my letter carefully, follow my instructions, become reality. Bullshit, time sensitive, a whole new world of joy and prosperity. Jeez,
But that's what it is.
A bad day here in the lab, obviously, because I didn't open this shit and send in my bloody $20 to this scam artist. This one's pretty beefy. This is a new one that just came in today. So let's send it in. They do, as I've done in previous videos, they do actually have a local office here in Sydney, a local rented office.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
I prayed over your needs. God showed me this ugly spirit of death. Well, I don't really have any death. Sorry, but thanks anyway. Have you age about born, time to hook up to the power of
So
death,
we go right there.
It's like, these are like superbly done. Like the psychology that goes into this sort of shit. And it's all individually addressed, David, of course, if you put in Wally, then,
Have you guys gotten your letters like this in the mail? Pay attention. Watch your mailbox. You might just get Peter Popoff mail.
There's a scam artist himself. God, I hope he croaks it soon. How old is he? Bloody hell. Anyway, what have I got? Oh, look. In Jesus' name.
See?
There is no such thing as Jesus Christ.
So we just want to show you this short video clip, as you can see, and this was just last year, Sister Sandy. And so as you're seeing here, this Peter Popoff, and what I noticed, he comes on late at night. We want to get you in the early morning, late night hours, early morning hours, because many of us is up anyway, can't sleep, can't rest,
Right.
and they come on at that time to get into your spirit because you're already unrest. And they tell you all of these things, and there you are with your credit card in hand, and you ordering this stuff. So we're going to take a look at him first on the church side, Peter Popoff. And let's just give you a little bit of background about this Peter Popoff, okay? By the 1980s, This Pentecostal evangelist, Peter Popoff, had a ministry on 51 television channels and 40 radio stations. And he had an annual income, get this y'all, $7 million. He also held healing crusades in many cities, during which he would exercise a word of knowledge by calling out the names, addresses, and illnesses of strangers who were in attendance. Well, in mid-1986, the news broke about Popoff's amazing revelations. It was broadcast to him by his wife. His wife, Sandy, now, they said that after she had conversed with members of the audience, she transmitted the information by a radio signal. And Peter Popoff could hear her voice through this tiny receiver in his ear. A team of skeptics discovered the ruse and recorded the private broadcast using a scanning receiver and recording equipment.
Wow.
And this was in the Los Angeles Times, May 11, 1986.
Wow.
So let's see how he responded. It says, when he was questioned about the matter by John Dart, who was a religious writer for the Los Angeles Times, this is what Popoff said. He replied that his wife only supplied him with about 50% of the information, and the rest he got from the Lord.
Oh, wow.
Popoff was forced to file for bankruptcy in 1987. But 3 years later, in 1990, he was back in business with a new book titled Dreams, which he announced in a full-page ad in the Charisma magazine. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar, but there really is. This is the magazine. This magazine.
Now we're going to talk about the government side of corruption. We're going to talk about Thomas J. Dodd. In 1967, Dodd became the first senator censured by the U.S. Senate since Joseph McCarthy in 1954. He was one of only 6 people censured by the Senate in the 20th century. The resulting censure was a condemnation and finding that he had converted campaign funds into his personal accounts, and he spent the money. Beyond the Senate Ethics Committee formal disciplinary action, other sources, such as an investigative journalist, Drew Pearson, and Jack Anderson's Congress in Crises. Dodd's corruption was far broader in scope, and there were accusations of alcoholism. In response to these accusations, Dodd filed a lawsuit against Pearson, claiming that Pearson was illegally interfered with his private property. Although the district court granted a partial judgment to Dodd, the appellate court ruled in favor of Pearson on the grounds that Dodd's property had not been physically abused. And also, in the fall of 1965, Dodd tried to get Martin Luther King Jr. arrested for violation of the Logan's Act. So that just goes to show that there is corruption, there's stealing of funds in both the church and the government. So we just wanted to show you this today so that you would understand that there is corruption in both places. Thank you for watching the government video on the state and the church, and to realize that there is corruption in high places.